Hello again. If you're like me and you have a very tidy desk with very tidy cable runs and all nice and neat, then you won't need the product that I'm going to show you next. However, if you're not like me and you have a messy table and you have cables just laying around the place, then perhaps the next product I'm going to show you is for you. Now, I'll make it clear at the start, this video is not sponsored in any way. I've bought the following two items that I'm going to have a look at with my hard-earned cash. So this is not sponsored. This is purely for information. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, like you and I, we play with controllers like this. This is the Smart Show Pro 1 that has network connections on them. And we also have other devices which I'm just going to grab from the floor because, like normal, it's always on the floor. Right, I've picked it up from the floor and I've put the microphone clip back on. Something like this. So here is a Smart Show Net DMX, and look, it's got a network connection on it. So this is a network to DMX that runs from USB. So everything we deal with, party lights, stage lights, disco lights, DMX lights, anything like that, and just normal networking. Don't forget, got cable modems, we've got tellies that plug into the network now. They mainly run on this stuff. This is Cat 5 or network cable. You can get various ones. Cat 6 is available now. You get Cat 5e, Cat 6e, etc. But normally what you'll see is an end like this, which is got a clip on it. Now sometimes they come with these covers, sometimes they come plain. Sometimes, like most things happen when you're out on site, these clips break. And when those clips break, things fall out. So you need something for testing. Now, I was in a warehouse a couple of weeks ago. We was running a new network cable that went into a 24-port hub. This is here. This is a 5-port hub. So I had a rack of 24 ports. And we had to trace the cable. We had to test the cable. So I thought to myself, look, it's about time. I got some equipment to help me with my wonderful tidy desk, you understand, and so I can test cables and check cables, etc. So that's what this video is about, a couple of devices that's going to help you test and trace these Cat 5 cables. Right, so here we have a couple of pieces of test equipment. I'll put down there somewhere how much these cost. This is the cheapest. This is you can buy these really cheap. This is a simple cable tester that'll just test the cable itself. This one's a bit more complicated. What this one will do is it will test the cable just the same as this one does, but you can also use what's called a toner, and you can tone out, and I'll explain and I'll show you how that works later. That comes in very handy when you're out on site. So first things first, let's have a look at this one. So this is RJ45 and RJ11. You don't see many RJ11 nowadays. They're mainly used for telephones, I think, or something like that. RJ45, that's the one that we're talking about, and that's this type of end that you normally see. The RJ45 Ethernet connection as well is what it's called. This is the normal type that you use in offices and at home for your cable modems, your TVs, also PlayStations. I know there's wireless available, but sometimes I find that wireless just doesn't cut the mustard, I'm afraid. Sometimes you cannot beat a cable. It's fixed, it doesn't get interfered with. I've been out to people's houses when they're complaining that the Wi-Fi doesn't work, and the house is full of Christmas decorations. Obviously this is at Christmas time, And I say, well, yes, I can understand that because, you know, the signal's bouncing off all the tinsel and all the shiny stuff. And they take some of the tinsel down and it works better. I prefer a cable. So let's open this box up and have a look inside it. Right. All that you get inside is the bag with the tester in it. Piece of paper inside. It's still sealed, so let's open it up. Okay, we have some instructions here, and they are in English, which makes a change, so that's good. It's on the flip side. Yeah, that's all in English, and that's in English, so cool. Yep, so we'll have a look at that later on. You know, to be honest with you, these are so basic, I don't think we actually need the instructions. So we have two parts to this, he says. Oh, there we go. It's a bit stiff, but it's fine. So normally what you would do is you have one part at one end of the cable and the other part at the other end of the cable. And if we look at the actual end, you can see that it's just got numbers on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, and then ground. Okay, and I'll show you a cable being tested so you can see how this works. So we've got two connections on this. I'm guessing it's RJ, yeah, so RJ11 this end, RJ45 that end. The main sender unit here's got a on-off switch, 3 positions, off, on and S. Do you know, I'm going to have to read the instructions to find out what S means. So there you go. Oh, so on the back we need to put a battery in it. And there's the two connections, RJ11 on the right and RJ45 there. So, can connect. That was tough. 9-volt battery. There we go. That's in nicely there. So let's put this back on. Okay, and if we turn it on, you can see. Let me just turn that off a little bit. There we go. You can see a flashing light there. Nothing appearing on there, that's on. S doesn't make a difference to the flashing light. Okay, so we don't have a cable connector, so that's why nothing's happening. So let me just grab a cable. Right, I found a cable, so here's a cable. Look, we've got the RJ45 ends on it. So I'll plug one into this end and one into this end here. Okay, so I'm just going to turn the light so it's a little bit further away. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to turn the device on and we should see it counting away. Okay, so there we go, and you can see it counting away quite nicely. So that's what that's doing, is it's testing each individual cable that's held within this cable. And there are 4 pairs, or there are 8 cables in total. They often been called twisted pair as well, because each pair is twisted together. So when you are cutting the ends off and you're putting them in as plugs, or you're using a patch panel to in a network, the pairs are twisted together. You untwist them and you connect them. That's a bit more complicated. I won't go into that now. Let's just suffice it to say there's 8 cables in there, and all 8 are working because you can see that the 2 are flashing together without any problems. S must mean slow, because that is the same as it was doing it before, but it's a bit slower. Yeah, that's fast, that's slow. There we go. So that's what the S means. Okay, let me just grab another cable. Right, I've got another cable which is here, so let me just unplug. Oh, that's stiff. There we go. Put that to one side and we'll plug this one in. Now, I bet I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, aha, this is a broken one. That's why Mike's plugging it in. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, so we're plugged in. Let's switch it on. So, as you can see what's happening with this, you'll see that there's a couple of cables that are not quite connected in the right order. So, as this one is counting down 1 to 8, this side, you can see that this side is jumping around a bit. Okay. Okay, so 1 and 2 are out of sync with the others. That is actually correct. I know it sounds odd. So let's have a closer look at this cable. So on this cable, there is a marker on it. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit to show you. Okay, so can you see that where it says crossover? So this is actually a legitimate cable. This is what's called a crossover cable. You don't tend to see and use them nowadays, but what these used to be very good for is connecting two computers together, sort of two computers back to back. And this allowed communication between the two computers. You don't often see these now because what happens is on modern network cards is that they can cope with the crossover in software rather than a physical cable. But if you ever see that a crossover cable, that's what it was. Again, you can use these, but crossovers tend not to be used now. What is used is these straightforward cables. So that's what this is. That's a very simple network tester for testing cables straight through without any other sort of testing on it. Again, these are quite cheap. You can pick them up Amazon, eBay, Banggood, any of those sort of places. If you can get one of these, put it in your toolbox because they come in very handy. Right, let's put that to one side and let's have a look at this one. So this is slightly different. This is a kit that I bought, and I wish I had this kit when I was working in that warehouse the other week. So this comes with a sender and receiver just like before. We've got a pair of headphones in here because you might need those for the beeping, and I'll explain what the beeping is later on. We've got a couple of test cables here by the looks of things. So these are RJ45 and RJ11 cables. And we've also got a couple of crop clips as well, so we can test other things. I don't normally use this stuff, but also I'll leave it in the bag. But you can use this, so if you need to patch into a patch panel, you can use this little cable here. I'll just put this to one side with the headphones. We've got a couple of batteries, which is good. Oh, let me move those instructions over there. That goes the other thing. So it looks like each one of these must use a battery. This little tool, what this is a cutter. So if you're making cables up, you've got a cutter here. You've got a pusher. So in back of patch panels, when you're pushing cables in to the patch panel, that's what that is there. So this is a nice little tool if you're doing that. I'll keep it, but I won't use it. And the simple reason is because of my colour blindness, I am useless of recognising the colours on the cables because they're so small. If I can dig out some cable in the next couple of days, I'll do a bit at the end of the video about the cables. But so that's what that is. It's a tool for making up cables. We're having some instructions here as well, and some nice little colour pictures. Tells you all about it in here. tells you what is telephone tracing, what wires are not supported, etc. So you've got some quite good information there. Nice colour instruction book. So let's pop that back in there. Pop the tool back in there, and just for the time being I'll stick these wires in here as well so I don't lose them. This is the main event. Let's have a look at these two. So as before, both of these, you've got the numbers down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and ground, and then the numbers down here as well. We've got scan, off and test. I'll explain what the scan is later on, which involves this little pointer here. On this side we've got on, off and on LED. We've got a, looks like a volume control, and there's a headphone connection. We've got a push to test. Got a light on the end there. So this one, RJ11, RJ45. We've got a status button, function button. Okay, so got quite a bit there. Let's first of all get the batteries in, and we'll get them powered up and we'll have a look. Why is it that you can never get the ends of those right the first time? It's like plugging in a USB cable or connection, isn't it? You never ever get USB. It's always the third time, isn't it, when you're plugging in USB. Sorry, I'm waffling on a bit, aren't I? Right, there we go, that's got those in. Okay, so let's do a quick test. RJ45 cable in there, RJ45 cable in there. Okay, let's switch her on. Test. Okay, let's turn that light away a bit. There we go, you can probably see it better now. So on this side it's counting down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on this one it's counting across. It's just the same thing. So that cable is okay. And you can see the flash to say that it's pulsing at the moment. So that's okay, that's working fine. So what else can we do on this? Well, the other connection is what's called scan. And what will scan do, if I've got this set right, I'm not entirely sure if I've got this set right, so I think you have to press the test button. There we go, did you hear that? So I'm pressing the test button, so I can press it here. Okay. And then when I get the probe closer to the wire, okay, so what is that doing? Well, this is sending a signal out to the cable, and when this probe gets close to that cable, it will emit that noise and the light will come on. I'll just do that again. Okay. Why is that helpful? Because there's only one cable on the bench. Well, that is helpful when you have a switch like this or a bigger switch, when you've got multiple cables in. Let me show you what I mean. So here's a look at my ever so tidy desk again, and this is my network switch, and as you see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cables plugged in. Let me just do that again, bear with me for a second. There we go. So as you can see there, I've got 5 cables plugged in, but I don't know which one this one is connected to. So what I can do with my wonderful tester is I can plug this end into here like this, switch it on to scan, it's flashing away. And then what I can do with this now, this probe at the end here, is I can test to see which cable, not that one, not that one. So as you can hear, it is very faint and then it goes a bit louder when it gets to the right one. Let's do that again. So not that one, not that one, but you can just hear it. That one is loudest, so that's got to be that one. Not that one, not that one. And it is in fact that cable there, which is the one that we're under test. So that's what the scanner uses, and that's quite handy. I think the volume control at the side is literally volume. Okay, so that is what this scan does. And when you're in large environments like warehouses and that sort of stuff, and if you're doing Christmas lights or holiday lights as they're called, and you've got network cables lying around the place, it will come in very handy. So there we go then, 2 cable testers of relatively reasonable prices. This one especially is, this one's a little bit more, but it does come as a kit with all the other bells and whistles in it as well. Both bought by my hard-earned cash. Again, I want to emphasize that this is not sponsored, so no one's asked me to review these or given me these. I've paid for these myself. But in my job working in IT, things like this come in very handy, and like I say, I wish I had these the other day when I was working in the warehouse. It would have made things a bit easier instead of shouting, is it that one or is it that one? Well, I hope you enjoyed that quick review of these 2 network cable testing devices. If you like what I do, please give me a thumbs up. I like doing these videos, I just do it for a bit of fun. But please subscribe as well, because that helps with YouTube and the algorithms and things. And don't forget, all this talking is making my throat dry, so if you would like to buy me coffee, there's a link down there as well. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.